Hi, welcome back to episode 6 of Coping Interventions with Praggatti. Today I'm going to talk about a resource that we all come super wired with, but sadly we have come to use it all wrong. I'm pretty convinced that when you know about today's coping style, you will be able to optimize this innate resource in yourself, as well as say goodbye to stress for ever. Yes, quite possible forever. So what am I going to add to the toolkit which I have been building over the last 5 weeks? I did suggest about mindfulness-based stress reduction, about disclosures, both oral as well as written. I talked about optimism, and last week was all about religion and spirituality as coping mechanisms. Today, I'm building up the list by adding exerting psychological control to the big list. Yes, exerting psychological control is such an important coping mechanism that it has been touted as a very humble yet very glamorous tool for coping. What about it? I'll be building it in a while. Well, to begin with, I need to remind you all of that emotion when you felt that you could do something about life, about your challenges, about your stress, and just by knowing that you can manage, control, or cope around them made you felt so good. It gave you a grounded confidence, a confidence which tells you that okay, I may not be quite okay, or I may be having a tough time right now, but it will all turn out fine. That's exactly what grounded confidence is all about. So, explaining and coming back to the tool for today, exerting psychological control. Well, simply put, psychological control is nurturing a set of beliefs that we can cope, or we can have a say and control on our own behaviors. We can exert influence on our environment. And most importantly, we also have the ability to manage the outcomes that we want for ourselves, whether personally or professionally. What about this humble tool which makes it so glamorous? I personally feel there are two things which make it such an effective mechanism for coping against stress. And number one out of that is the whole idea, nurturing the whole idea of psychological control gives us self efficacy. Yes, the whole idea of self concept and self belief that this is manageable, doable, and we can come out fine is what makes it worth trying. The second important thing, according to rather psychologist Bandura, this is also engaging in the whole process of narrowing down our perception. When we narrow down our perception, we acquire an ability to take certain action towards our outcomes, even if the situation is not as desired as we want it to be. So the two things which actually make this humble tool a lot more glamorous are perceptual control, the whole idea, or nurturing the whole thought that we have a control over our perceptions. And the second one, narrowing down of our outlook towards problems. When we narrow down, we again feel extremely confident that we can manage, take over, and cope through it. Well, a wide variety of researchers have come forth with respect to the impact of exerting psychological control and the overall well-being. It has been extremely fruitful and proven to be good for emotional resilience, for good health, for all those behaviors or changing behaviors to acquire good health, as well as using certain cognitive measures like thinking, like remembering, and most importantly, about managing stuff. So, thinking, managing, and reasoning. Today, I just wish to leave you with this one thought, that if we trust that whatever coping mechanisms we are going to use are going to be successful, if we also add that up with a simple belief that we have a control in what happens to us and we are not mere puppets, or we are not those dry leaves in the wind, we are forces to reckon with, provided we use our innate mechanisms, resources really well. And that is what is going to lead to reduce stress, to manage distress, and most importantly, any kind of psychological distress or responses that you might show up would be far more balanced. So go ahead, exert intentionally all that psychological control that you can muster in your personality as part of your temperament. Create very solid, elevated emotions for yourself, and just remember, nothing changes till you change. Yes, nothing changes till you change implies go ahead, take some action, and we see you next week with some more coping mechanisms on managing stress. Thank you.